So welcome back to the final episode for our 2023 knit block of the month. Okay, so now at this point you should have all of your blocks seamed together and we're ready to add the border. So I want to show you here. This is our border. It's some basic stitches with a little bit of color added on here. And again, in the pattern, I have indicated what colors I used where. This is leftover from inside the work. If you want to do it all in one color, your border color, you'll have plenty of yarn to do that. Or if you want to mix and match, or if you want them to match, you should have enough yarn to do that all the way around. However, I was just using a little bit here and there to give it a little bit more contrast and spice it up a little bit. So these are the colors I chose. I have one side that has the blue and lavender, and then one side that has the gray and pink, and then opposite on the opposite side. So the way we work this border, I kind of want to go over that a little bit with you so you understand the construction, because there's borders 1, borders 2, borders 3, and borders 4. Border 1 and 2 are the same, and borders 3 and 4 are the same. So I don't have like a large, let's see what the diagram looks. Let me go back to the diagram so I can show you here. It'll make a little bit more sense because the blanket's a little big to push out for you. Okay, so we have border 1 here, and it goes from the end of this block here to the end of that block here. Then we have border 2, and it goes from the end of this block here to the end of this block there. Then on border 3 and 4, they go across both, where you're going to be picking up stitches from not just your blocks, but also from the border that you already put on either of those sides. So you're doing your side borders first, and then you're going across the top and then across the bottom. Now, if you get confused and you realize, oh, I just picked up all these stitches and I'm on the wrong side, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that they're opposite ends. So pick a side, cast on for your border, and then the border 2 will be the opposite of that, and then 3 and 4 will be the other ends. So don't get too stressed out if you realize you didn't do it exactly like I did. It'll still all work out. Picking up stitches. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. It is so very similar to how we did the mattress stitch or the invisible stitch in the last episode. I'm going to take this little piece right here and my purple yarn and show you how we pick up the stitches. I'm going to start on this side here because border 1 starts here. Then I'm going to show you how to pick up on the cast, the bind off edge, that's this one here, and then the cast on edge is down here. It is exactly the same. It's very intuitive, so you should be good to go when you look at this. Here is my edge stitches. Remember we talked about those. When you start to pick up, you're going to come in, get everything in the right order. Underneath that stitch, stick your needle through, and then basically it's called pick up and knit is the term, pick up and knit. And then you slide, and now you've picked up that stitch. Then you go under the next one, and wrap your yarn around, bring it through. So I pick up, and knit. Now, each of these blocks have different stitch counts. So you're not going to pick up every single stitch. So be sure to look at your pattern. It will tell you exactly how many you're going to pick up. You'll go through and you'll pick up all the stitches that you need. Then on the next block and the next block and the next block. So there's 4 blocks that you're going to go through, and you're going to pick up all these stitches. And it looks exactly the same. So that's what it looks like on the side. Here was our bind off. We're going to do the same thing. Slide under that little V. Whoops. Boom, just like that. If I can get, there we go, like that. I'll do it one more time for you, just like that. Then when you're picking up stitches, this is my bind off edge. You might find that if you roll it a little bit towards yourself, you'll see those stitches a little better. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for that V, and it's on the, this is the cast on edge. On the cast on edge, those V's may be a little shorter on one side. That's the word I'm looking for, shorter on one side, but you will still go through two of them. If you used a different cast on than I did, because I used the long tail cast on, if you used a different cast on, this may look just a slight bit different. Then you can go and look underneath and you'll see gaps where each of the stitches come together, and just slide through there, because that'll give you a real good indication of where a stitch would be in those gaps like that. You'll have a little bit more of fabric on the other side, but that's okay because it'll be on the back side of your blanket. It's okay. But, so those are some tips and tricks on picking up stitches. So you'll pick up all these stitches for your border. Now I want to show you how to work this border. Okay, so I have this little sample here. I've gone ahead and added borders 1 and borders 2 because I want to show you border 3, because 3 and 4 basically, they incorporate both borders 1 and borders 2. So this way I'm showing you all at once exactly what we're going to do. When you do borders 1 and borders 2, this seed stitch area that I showed you earlier that's on the edge, you don't add that yet. So this comes in on borders 3 and 4. But I'm going to show you now so that you have, I hope that makes all sense to you of how I'm doing this. But I've gone ahead and I've picked up all of my stitches, and now I'm on the back side. That's why my needle was over here. Okay, so I've picked up all my stitches, and now I've flipped my work over. I'm looking at the wrong side of my work. And first thing we want to do is work our seed stitch that's on this corner. Now remember, this part right that I'm showing you right here is only for borders 3 and 4. We're going to go ahead and knit 1, purl 1. Now remember, seed stitch is knit 1, purl 1. Then when you flip it over, you knit the purls and purl the knits. So that's what we just do for these first 10 stitches. Okay, so that was a purl. Now I'm going to knit and purl. That's the first 10 stitches. Now I'm going to go ahead and just slide a stitch marker on here just for a visual aid. It's not in your pattern, so you don't have to do this, but I like to know that that is that corner piece that's in seed stitch. That's a good reminder there for me. So now we're starting on row 2, where we're going to work our first 10 stitches of the seed stitch. Then we're going to purl all the way across, turn over, and we'll be ready for row 3. Okay, so row 1 is where we picked up all our stitches, and row 2, we start with the seed stitch. Now we're going to purl all the way across until we get to the last 10 stitches. That's for the seed stitch corner again. And let me finish that up, and then I'll show you row 3. Okay, so now we are ready for row 3. Row 3 is pretty much a repeat of row 1. We're going to work our seed stitch, and then we're going to knit across, and then work our seed stitch again. My first stitch is a knit, and I want to purl that stitch, and then knit, and then purl, and then knit, and purl. So basically we're going to repeat the last 2 rows that we did, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we really get into the texture and the pattern of the center of that border. Okay, so I finished those 4 rows, the pick up and then the back and forth and back. Now I'm on the right side of my work. I have my border color is my active color. We're going to start some fancy footwork here that's going to give us that texture and lead us into our design. Again, the first 10 stitches are the seed stitch. So if your first stitch is a purl, you're going to knit it. If your first stitch is a knit stitch, you're going to purl it. Just look down at your work. Mine is a knit stitch, so I'm going to purl and knit. Work that all the way till I get to my stitch marker that I placed. That's 10 stitches in. Now remember, this is This purl stitch, or seed stitch, sorry, the seed stitch is only on borders 3 and 4. On borders 1, you won't be working that. So this is where we're going to pick up for borders 1 and 2. Right here, this section. First thing that we're going to do. So if you notice on the border, the seed stitch corners are all done in the border color. When you're working borders 1 and 2, you'll switch to the color of your choice. For me, this next one, I'm going to use this blue here. When you're working 3 and 4, you're going to keep your border color attached to your seed stitch area. You're not going to cut that yarn, just let it hang out there. And then you'll add your new color yarn when you're in this center section of your border. And it'll tell you that in the pattern of when you're going to be adding in your other color. So you'll work the seed stitch. I'm on the wrong corner here. Let me flip over so we're all looking at the right direction. So you'll work your seed stitch here. You'll leave that border color attached to your work. Now you'll incorporate the color that you're going to work into this pattern. And that's if you decide to add the colors in here and not just work the whole thing in your border color. But when to add that other color is listed in your pattern, and it'll give you the letter that I used, but you can use whichever one you want. So that's where I'm at here. We are going to knit 1, so I'm adding my color there. And then we're going to slip 1 purlwise, so that means I slide my needle in this way and I slip it over. And then we're going to knit 1. Make sure I don't grab my tail. And slip 1, knit. So we just continue this knit 1, slip 1, all the way across till I get to the stitch marker. And that stitch marker, if you're, again, borders 1 and 2, that'll be the end. Borders 3 and 4, you work your seed stitch. You'll have to attach another ball of yarn of your border color when you get over here, and I'll show you how to do that when we get there. Okay, so that was a knit. Now I'm slipping purlwise, knit, slip purlwise. Do this all the way across. And you will end with a knit 1. Now I'm going to slide my marker. Okay, so now I'm at the end here. I'm ready to pick up and knit this corner here, and I need to add my new yarn. So I've got some over here, and this is a knit stitch, so I need to purl. I'm going to wrap that around there like that. And then this is a great trick. I want to show you this real quick. Because normally, when you're adding in another color, it's with a knit stitch, and then your tail goes on the back side of your work. It hangs out there, all is well. Well, when you're adding a new color and you have a purl stitch, all of a sudden your tail is at the front of your work, because when you're purling, your working yarn is at the front of your work. Here's a little trick. So I just purled that stitch. Before I go in to knit the next stitch, I just grab both of them, my active yarn and my tail, and I bring it to the back, and I knit the next stitch. Now my tail's in the back of my work hanging out, and I don't have to worry about it hanging out on the front of my work. So that is a little tip there for you, moving that tail around. Don't be afraid. Just be sure that when you work these seed stitches that you are purling the knit stitches and knitting the purl stitches. If for some reason when you start it off you get it backwards, that's okay. Just make sure you continue in that sequence and it'll be fine. Okay, so I've worked those. Now we're going to turn over. I'm on the wrong side of my work. I'm going to go ahead and work the seed stitch to get back to this middle border section, and then I'll show you how we work that on this side. Okay, so I'm on the back side of my work. I just finished working that corner. Now I'm back to the border section, and I'm still using this color here. And my first stitch is a knit 1. So I'm going to bring my yarn to the back of my work, and I'm going to knit into that stitch. So I'm going to move the yarn to the front, and then I'm going to slip one. So in the pattern it says slip one, and then you've got your little acronym for with yarn in front, and that's what that means. Move your yarn to the front, then slip your stitch. Then the next one is a knit, and then you bring your yarn to the front, slip, bring the yarn to the back, knit, back and forth. And we're doing this because we're still slipping that original purple stitch here, that border color stitch, and we're just incorporating the other color into that texture. And we don't, if we slipped it with the yarn in back, it's gonna like give you a little wrap around that stitch, and you don't want that. So that's why we're moving it to the front so it's out of the way. So I'm moving it to the front, and then I'm slipping that stitch. Let me show you what it'd look like if I left. So if I left the yarn in back and I slipped that stitch, when I go to knit my next stitch, it carries that yarn, and we don't want that look. So that is why you bring it to the front before you slip that stitch. Then take it to the back to knit the next stitch. Like sometimes if you understand why you're making a specific stitch or moving the yarn a specific way, it makes more sense. Okay, I'm almost done here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, finish up my border, then I'll be back to show you the next main section row on the right side. Okay, before I jump ahead, there is one more thing I want to show you. Remember how we have the border color hanging out over here and we have this other color that we're using over here? When I transition back to work my little seed stitch corner, you really need to make sure that you twist these two yarns. Otherwise, you're going to have a gap between your little corner and your border stitches. So the old adage of old over new always helps me remember which way to twist. And what that means is I need to pick up this purple yarn to knit this first stitch here, and I'm done. So this is my old yarn because I just finished that stitch. Old over new. This is the yarn that I'm going to be using. I'm on the back side of my work. Now this first stitch is a knit, so I just bring it through. But see how those two are crisscrossed right through there? That's going to close up any gaps that may occur from using two different yarn strands. So I just want to point that out. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you the right side of the main border area. Okay, so I've gone ahead and worked the corner. Now I'm ready to bring in the next color in the main border area. So what we're doing here, we are going to just simply knit with the new color. So I'm inserting my needle into that first stitch, bringing in my next color, and I'm going to knit all the stitches, and then I'm going to purl back. So I'll knit all the stitches, I'll work my corner again, I'll purl back, then I'll be ready to show you the next color change. Just simply knit across this section. Don't forget that when you're going to your border stitch or your corner stitches in your border, that you twist that yarn so that you don't get any gaps. Be sure to keep doing that every time you go to that section. Okay, guys, here we go. This is what it looks like. You're just going to go ahead and repeat those stitches I just showed you. Follow your pattern, follow your color. Let me show you on the blanket what it looks like here. So this is where we started. Here's the color work that we were doing with the slipping of the stitches and adding in the new colors. And then you're going to do some stockinette. That's knit on the right side, purl on the wrong side. Then some garter stitch, which is knit on both sides. Continuing keeping your corner in the seed stitch. That's knit the knits and purl the purls for the last 10 and the first 10 stitches of every row. Then you just bind off. And then you can reblock it, maybe a steam block or a mist block. I wouldn't wet block it at this point because it's going to be pretty hefty. But then take a look at it. Now, I did notice a little bit of curl here. If I wanted that to stop doing that, I could do a little steam on it and it would lay back down. This blanket has been traveling quite a bit with me. We've been in and out of the studio, and it's also been showcased in the shop. So it's gotten a little bit of love since originally made. And when it curls up like that, I kind of don't mind that look personally. But if I wanted to lay back out, some steam, some mist, and it would lay back out. So, guys, that is our 2023 knit block of the month. I've showed you all the blocks. I've showed you how to seam them. I've showed you how to put the border on them. Now, if by chance you are just dialing into this project and you're like, I want to do this, you can still get the kit with the pattern and the yarn at onebighappy.com. And all the videos are up on our YouTube channel. You can go back and start with month 1 and follow along with us. I hope you enjoyed yourself and had a lot of fun with this project. And if you're maybe thinking I'd like to do this again, definitely leave a comment below, because we might be already twirling around the idea of a 2024 knit block of the month. And I'd really like to know how interested you would be to try this all over again, and what other kind of techniques you want to learn. Do you want to learn double knit? Do you want to learn mosaic knitting? Do you want to learn more lace or more cables or 2-color work, intarsia, fair isle? If you don't know what any of these words I'm saying mean, ask me about them. We'll go over them. Just let me know. Again, you can get everything at onebighappy.com. I hope you enjoyed everything. I had so much fun, and I cannot wait to see your pictures. Happy knitting!